They told her to wait her turn. They expected her to fade into the background. Just another lucky loser in a stacked draw. But before Alex Eala even hit her first serve at the Porsche Tennis Grand Prix, something absolutely wild happened. The entire tournament, a place steeped in almost 50 years of history, stopped dead in its tracks. Imagine this, a fan event, packed with legends and top-ranked stars. But every single person, every single camera, was chasing one autograph, a 20-year-old making her debut. And the wildest part? The actual match results didn't even come close to explaining the phenomenon. This goes way deeper than any scoreline could ever reveal. This wasn't just some casual sponsor meet and greet. The Porsche Village in Stuttgart is the beating social heart of the entire tournament. The place where tennis royalty genuinely connects with their fans. Think Navratilova, Sharapova, Hingis, Barty, all of them have walked through those doors over nearly 5 decades. And yet, on that specific April day in 2026, the demand for Alex Eala's signature was so unprecedented, so impossible to ignore, that the tournament's own official channels had to publicly announce it. They confirmed it. Eala was the most wanted autograph in the entire village, but that's just the surface of what's happening here. To truly grasp the shockwave Eala sent through Stuttgart, you have to understand how she even got there. She didn't earn a direct entry through her ranking, sitting at 45th in the world. Her clay season had started with a thud, fresh off a second-round exit at the Linz Open. No, Eala slipped into the main draw almost invisibly, as a lucky loser, after both Qinwen Zheng, a Paris Olympic gold medalist, and Emma Navarro pulled out with injuries. She arrived quietly, an afterthought, yet somehow transformed into the undeniable center of attention before a single ball was struck. This glaring contrast is the key. In tennis, attention is usually bought with titles, deep runs, and high rankings. Eala, with only one WTA title to her name and making her debut at this prestigious 48-year-old event, defied that currency. Tournament director Marcus Guintart even confirmed she was the first Filipino player in the Porsche Grand Prix's entire history. This wasn't a homecoming, it was a debut where the fan response was so overwhelming it forced a public acknowledgement from the event itself. What happened in Stuttgart wasn't an isolated incident. This cultural phenomenon had been building for months, across continents. At the Australian Open in January 2026, the demand for Eala was so intense that Tennis Australia faced public criticism. They put her on a small court, Court 6, forcing hundreds of Filipino supporters to watch on a big screen outside. Even Novak Djokovic, already a legendary figure, openly acknowledged Eala's impact during his own record-breaking tournament run. He simply stated, "She's coming from the Philippines, which is now a big deal." And this is where the story takes a turn nobody expected. Djokovic, a man who chooses his words with surgical precision, doesn't offer throwaway compliments. His statement was a recognition of a genuine escalating force. Then, just a month later in Dubai, world number 6 Amanda Anisimova took things a step further. After her own quarterfinal victory, Anisimova didn't just give a polite answer about Eala's fanbase. She actually stayed at the venue to watch part of Eala's third-round win against Sara Errani. She then told the press, "I've seen the atmosphere. It's amazing. This is genuinely unusual behavior on the brutal WTA tour. Players are exhausted, their schedule's relentless. They simply do not linger courtside for rivals unless something truly extraordinary is pulling them in." So by the time Eala walked into the Porsche Village, she wasn't some unknown quantity. Her cultural footprint, the sheer passion of her global fanbase, had absolutely preceded her. This wasn't just about a talented player, it was about an entire movement. And this is where it gets interesting, because the person who ultimately sent Eala packing from the tournament, Leylah Fernandez, reacted in a way that screamed this exact reality. Now here's the part that should make you angry. Leylah Fernandez isn't just any player on the tour. She's a 23-year-old veteran with a Filipina mother and Ecuadorian father, representing Canada, a US Open finalist in 2021, and a player who arrived in Stuttgart ranked 25th in the world. She's an established, highly respected competitor with 5 WTA titles to her name. She dispatched Eala comfortably, 6-1, 6-4, dominating the first set and breaking Eala twice in the second to go up 5-2. Statistically, it was a convincing win where Fernandez claimed 63 of 109 points. But then, she sat down for the post-match interview, and the carefully constructed facade of a routine victory completely dissolved. And this is where it gets personal. Fernandez was asked about the tactical similarities between herself and Eala, both left-handed, aggressive baseliners, known for attacking early. Her response was immediate, genuine, and almost vulnerable. She admitted it felt like playing against a mirror, enjoying the challenge of figuring it out. But then she dropped a bombshell, recalling a specific moment years earlier at the Rafa Nadal Academy where she'd watched Eala and told her coach, "Wow, she plays quick. Think about that for a second." Years later, after beating Eala, Fernandez reaches back into her long-term memory to share a precise conversation she had about a then-junior player. You don't do that for a forgettable opponent. She was confessing that Eala had made a profound and lasting impression on her, long before their Stuttgart match. Even more revealing was Fernandez's confession about the tight closing stages of the second set. Eala found something at 5-2 down, breaking back and holding serve to make it 5-4, even saving 2 match points. Fernandez admitted her own coach had to intervene mentally at 0-30 while she was serving for the match. Her coach looked her dead in the eye and said, "Eala isn't going to go down easy. She's going to fight. You're going to have to take the match. Let that sink in." A top 25 player dominating her opponent had to be reminded mid-match by her own coaching team not to underestimate the woman she was about to beat. That detail, easily missed in a cold match report, fundamentally alters the narrative of a seemingly comfortable win. Eala herself offered a remarkably grounded perspective earlier that week in a sit-down interview with the WTA. She spoke with a maturity beyond her 20 years, acknowledging the immense pressure of carrying an international fan base that sometimes being a lot. She articulated the necessity of a spoonful of gratitude and a clear sense of identity to avoid being swallowed by the attention. She even described competing in Stuttgart, a tournament she'd watched online for years, as completing a puzzle, finally filling in the missing pieces. This isn't the typical bravado of a young star. This is a profound self-awareness that understands the weight of her rapidly escalating cultural significance, even as her ranking continues to build. Because here's what this all means going forward. The Stuttgart story, in its entirety, is not about a first-round loss or a single fan event. It's about what those moments collectively signal. Alex Eala's cultural gravity is now outpacing her ranking at an astonishing speed. She arrived as a replacement, earned a single ranking point, and a modest $13,000 from her early exit. And yet she departed as the undisputed player everyone in the Porsche Village was desperate to meet. This isn't just about tennis anymore. It's about a global phenomenon that coaches, rivals, and even the biggest names in the sport cannot ignore. Consider the implications. The last player who generated this kind of magnetic cultural momentum at tournaments she was technically too junior to be attending was a teenager who went on to win 23 Grand Slam titles. While Eala herself would undoubtedly deflect such an extreme comparison, the data is undeniably pointing somewhere profound. Djokovic noticed. Anisimova noticed. The Australian Open noticed, to the point of public embarrassment over court scheduling. And now, Leylah Fernandez, a player with every reason to maintain a composed professional distance, walked away from Stuttgart, unable to discuss Eala without her words dissolving into something akin to wonder. So, what happens when Eala's results finally catch up to the cultural tidal wave she's already creating? Is the tennis world ready for that?